Okay, let's take a look and see what we can do to make the drawing that we start with look like this. This is a typical check print where I'm looking at tolerances. And you'll see that there's some things. This is a piece of text, and it follows a text style. And that style says it's a certain size, it's bold, it's got a certain font. It looks like it's italic, and I think it's even squished down a little bit. Over here, I'll see the same thing, but there's a leader attached to it, so that's a leader style. And then you'll see some things that you're familiar with already. There's some dim styles, fractional, 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, but then there's this new thing that we have to do too. So in our drawing, we have to create a new text style, leader style, and dim style. And if they're not already in there, we have to add some of these ones that we already know about from our design center. So let's see how that looks. Here I've got my drawing set up. Here's the text, and it doesn't look right now. It's not quite right. And here's my leader, and these are all 4 decimal places. So what do I need to do? The first thing I need to do is go to first I need to save this file. Save as 6.2.1. There we go. I'm going to save it as 6.2.1. Okay, and I need to get some of these dim styles that I was looking at, and I need to change some of those. This one, if I look at my styles, becomes fractional. And that's okay that it got smaller. That's actually the size it should be. Okay, so you'll go back and you'll make all of these correct. Let's see if I can pull that up and get some of them to be kind of the same size here. Okay, this one's 2 decimal places. And you can work here, or you can go into your annotate screen. So like this one is 2, and this one is 2, and this one is 2. Those ones are all 2 decimal places. And this one's 3, and this one is 3, and 3, and 3. Those are all 3 decimal places. So now I need to make a new one here. I need to make a new one to fix these. Okay, so that's this little button here and the little arrow. And I'm going to make a new one out of my XXX because see there's 3 decimal places. So I'm going to start with that one, and I'm going to make a new one. And now I'm going to call it deviation. Okay, so this big whole thing comes up with all sorts of things. And most of it we don't really have to look at. This is just how it draws the lines and the spacing and how far these little lines extend and what the offset from the origin is. And this is the type of arrows, closed filled. We're using closed filled. And the arrow size and this mark size. These are all going to be okay. Our text is horizontal. You see it's always horizontal in mechanical. And it's centered. So that's important to know. And my text height is set for 1/8 of an inch. That's very common. Fit is how do I place these things if there's not enough room? And so I'll just go best fit, and I'll always write these at the right size. Now we come over here. This is why I wanted to start with this one. It's already all the right height and everything, and it's got 3 decimal places. So far, so good. Now I just need to get that other little weird piece. That's called a tolerance. And I'm going to go to deviation, and my upper is going to be 0, but my lower is 0.002. And now I've got it in there. So if I click these 3 that need to change, I can select deviation, and all my dimensions are right. I better save that before I get too far. So that's how you work with Dimstyles. Now let's take a look at a text style. So I'm going to go to the little down arrow, and I'm going to go to the little side arrow. And this one, I'm going to call this check print. So I'm going to make a new one. Check print. And what I'd like you to do is use Calibri. Calibri, I just typed it in, and I'd like you to make it bold italic. Height, I want you to set it now. Regardless of what you type in to set the height, it's always going to be 0.25. And I want you to squish it a little bit. 0.88. And apply. So now when we select these 2 and go look for which one it might be, I can make it check print, and it shows up like that. Oh, isn't that too cool? And so now I want to do the same thing on this leader. So that's going to be the little sideways arrow, and I'm going to make a new one. And this is a manufacturing note. It won't really end up being on the final part because you don't do that on a final part, but I want it on my check print note. So my leader format, I'm going to leave it the same arrow size, same everything, same content and structure. But on my content, I'm going to choose my check print style for text. And then I can make that a manufacturing note. Oh, and it's a little bit big, so I'll have to move it a touch. There we go. You've created Dimstyles, text styles, and Leaderstyle. And it's good to go through those dialog boxes and just try to think of what they do and how they work. But I hit the most common important things so you can save your work. When you print it, it should come out looking nice. There we go. Now you have a nice, good looking check print drawing.